Well, according to a recent survey, the emotional and financial burden of paying for college often exceeds expectations. It's affecting everything from retirement plans to mental health. And today in this video, we're going to unpack what families are really facing in terms of deciding between college and retirement and how to make those smarter decisions that won't derail your future. Welcome in. This is Dollars with Dennis. Glad to have you with us one more time. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. If you're joining us for the first time, thanks for finding the video. We appreciate you being here. We have a lot of content about financial planning, retirement planning. And if you have more questions, always remember 401k.faith. Dennis, the college decision, I think this is probably something you probably worked through quite a bit with families, right? Just, do I pay for college? How do I manage that with retirement coming up? There's a lot that's on the line.
Yeah, so it's not easy decision. This is one of the hardest subjects to deal with because everybody wants their kids to have the best education they can and come out of it with no debt if possible. But that is not easy to do in today's world. So there's alternatives and things that we have to consider. And what do we give up when we do that if we're helping them get through school?
Yeah, we're going to talk through some of these findings from a couple of different studies and reports. We'll drop in the show notes as well. You can see them for yourself if you're interested. The Citizens Financial Group's 2024 College Planning Study, and then How America Pays for College. It's a report from Sally May. So some interesting findings in this, Dennis, that I want to kind of get your thoughts on. And first one is about planning ahead. And this is something hopefully you've been planning for a while, but only 1 in 5 parents admitted that they focus on getting their child into college without thinking about how to pay for it. So what does that paying for college conversation look like or sound like when you're discussing it with your clients in your office?
They're tough decisions and common sense, so most of us went to school, had to figure out a way to help pay for it. We took on some debt. We maybe worked a part-time job while in school, stuff like that. And it seems like today's world they just want to go to school and have a great life and somebody else pay for it. I'm not sure that works for most people. So it takes some planning, takes some juggling of effects. And really it's parents and children coming together with like minds to say, what can we do and what should we do and how do we get there? And we want to be part of that process to help them make the best decisions when they're going down that road.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to make those best decisions, because there's a lot that goes into this, and a big part of it is the debt, right? I mean, it's expensive. The debt that you're going to incur is going to be significant, whether it's you or your kids. But 58% of the parents say the cost of living has impacted their ability to cover college, and 40% are also juggling other debt. So there's a lot on your plate financially if you're in this position as a parent. So when does it actually make sense to maybe pause or limit that college support because of what you have going on?
As soon as it causes a problem. So if it's impacting your financial decisions now, it's a problem. So there's got to be a way to deal with it other than that. And one of my favorite radio hosts, Dave Ramsey, he addressed this conversation many different ways, but somebody called in and said, should I take a loan out to help my son pay for college? And his question was, well, are you fully prepared for retirement? What do you mean? Well, do you have your retirement plan in place? You're fully ready to retire and no hiccups along the run? They said, well, no. Well, so let me ask you the next question. So you take the loan out for your son to go to college, and then 20 years ago, you're trying to retire. Is your son going to take a loan out to help you retire? So he thinks that, it's always better for younger people to take loans than older people. In his opinion, I think it makes some sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you have to prioritize yourself. It's tough for a lot of parents to do, right? Because they want to take care of their kids, but you have to figure out what's best for you, because look, you don't have as much time to make it up as your kids do. So that's why it's so important to have this conversation about, hey, when does it make sense to kind of pull back a little bit? But here's another interesting finding here, Dennis. 40% of parents would rather talk about drugs, and 30% would rather talk about politics than the cost of college. Has it really gotten that bad?
That's pretty significant there for sure. College expenses have gone up quite a bit, and they're tough to deal with. But there's a lot of alternatives. I see a lot of the high schools now that have dual credit curriculums where students can earn credits while they're still in high school and come out of graduate high school and have 1 or 1.5 years of college already taken care of. That will help the cost and give you longer to save for college if you do that. Um, there's a big push towards the trained skilled labor positions that cost less to train for. You can get a 12 or 24 month degree in something and come out making more money than if you went to school for 4 years and got a bachelor. And we have a lot of needs. I mean, can't get a good plumber, can't get a can't get an electrician. So those kind of jobs that are needed, we kind of got away from them, and now they're coming back in vogue. So there's a way we can curb some of that college cost, but nobody really wants to. It's expensive. They don't really want to talk about it. I know they want to talk about drugs more than that. That's why we have these stats, right?
Yeah. It's amazing that one of every two parent would rather talk about drugs. But how early do you see people talk? I know it's an uncomfortable conversation, obviously, but how early do you see the parents you're working with begin having these conversations about what costs are going to be incurred at college and how they're going to pay for it?
So we like to do it as soon as the child is born. That's the best time to do it and start planning for that. It's really good to get to college age and them not need all the money than to get to college age and not have enough money. So starting it right away is a good thing. Getting parents and grandparents involved. 529 plans are awesome. They've liberalized the rules quite a bit. You get some state deductions. You don't have to use state specific plans as much now. And there are reward programs that parents and grandparents can use to help build that 529 plan even quicker and easier. And I think they probably want to do that if they can. So getting help from the rest of the family is important for people, and you want to start that conversation as early as possible.
All right. So how significant is these college costs, and what does it actually how does it actually impact retirement? Well, here's what parents had to do to help put their kids through college based on these studies and reports. So 19% took on a second job, 1 in 5. 30% borrowed from the 401k or liquidated investments. 26% stopped investing entirely. 66% cut major purchases or vacations, and then 62% expect retirement delays. Nearly 40% said 1 to 5 years of a delay in retirement. And I mean, there's a lot of sacrificing that's going on right now, and that's great. But how do you look at this prioritization of college over retirement, especially when it's going to backfire on the whole family?
Yeah, so you really have to weigh that heavy. And I would take the one in the next to last one, cut major expenses and vacations. So if there's things in your budget that you can exclude and live without for a few years while college is going, then that's certainly a reasonable request. But if it's going to delay your retirement by 1 to 5 years, that might be a little bit tough to deal with. So I think you got to start considering what are the options, what is the payback of getting whatever education you're getting going to be, and how do we get there? And if it's not doable, look for alternatives. And we said earlier, there's part-time jobs for the students. There's grants and lots of grants out there. I know some students will apply for up to 40 or 50 different grants, and if they get a couple $100 from 30 different places, that all adds up. So it is an effect on retirement. If it's going to affect, in my opinion, if it affects you delaying your retirement by 5 years, that's too expensive, and you got to figure out another way to do that.
So what other advice would you have for parents, Dennis, that are trying to balance this retirement and college costs? I know we talked some 529 plans, obviously a big one, but what are some other strategies that have you seen work for couples and families that are trying to do this?
Yeah, so 529 plans got a little bit of a bad rap for a while because if the student got to college age and didn't use all their money, then it still had some penalties and stuff that went with it. So Secure Act 2.0 that came out 2 years ago added to 529 the option if all the rules are in place and there's money left over, the beneficiary can convert that to a Roth IRA, which makes overfunding of 529 not a bad thing anymore. It used to kind of be a bad thing. So I would look to overfund it. And then also, as soon as you can, have Roth IRAs, because after 5 years, you can pull money from Roth IRAs to help with those costs. If you have brokerage accounts, savings bonds, anything you can do to have multiple savings resources available to you. So when you get to the college time, you have different ways to pay for it, and you can make the decision on what accounts you take from. But the rules have gotten a lot better, and I love the fact that now that a 529 plan can be overfunded, and then eventually the student can convert that into a Roth for their own retirement going forward. It gives them some flexibility.
All right, very good. Well, you can always follow up. Faith 401k.faith is the website to learn more. Also to get in touch with the team there and schedule a meeting with Dennis. But look, this is a big topic, especially as college costs continue to go up, cost of living continue to increase. It's becoming more and more difficult for parents that are approaching retirement to try to balance both. So, like, just remember that helping your kids doesn't mean hurting your future, right? It's an investment, college is, but it also is retirement as well, to think of it as an investment moving forward. So you want to find that balance and have a team that can support you in doing so. And that's what Faith 401k and money management can help you with. So thanks for breaking this down, Dennis. I know this is a big topic for people, but again, one that you have to think through quite a bit before you decide how you're going to do it.
Tough subject. Thanks, Ben. Have a great day.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.